In this module, we will learn the inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs of the control schedule process. Control schedule is the process of proactively comparing actual project execution to the approved plan to document performance of the project and influence factors that can bring future project performance closer in line with the plan. One popular technique is earned value technique. In this process, the project management team observes the completion of project work as compared to the approved plan to determine performance. When a variance exists, corrective and preventative change requests should be generated to help bring future results closer in line with approved plans. The tools and techniques listed in this process are all similar to the variance analysis technique used in control scope. Since most monitoring and controlling processes focus on comparing project execution with approved plans, we can expect to find both planning and executing components as inputs. The project management plan includes the schedule management plan, which describes how this process should be performed. It also includes the schedule baseline, which is the reference point for all schedule performance measurement. The project schedule, project calendars, and schedule data represent the most current representation of the schedule model to include completion status and updates. Work performance data is data regarding the status of activities being performed to accomplish project work. It is generated as an output of the direct and managed project work process. This data may include the reported percentage of work completed, actual durations, and costs incurred to date. Finally, organizational process assets may include policies, procedures, and reporting methods or templates related to controlling change. There are several tools and techniques used in the control schedule process. Collectively, they all represent a comparison between planned and actual performance to determine project schedule performance and ways to bring future results closer in line with the plan. Variance analysis is the technique of comparing actual durations for work completed with the planned durations of that work in the schedule baseline to detect variations. Schedule variations can be used to determine if corrective or preventative action is needed. This may include trend analysis, critical path method, and earned value analysis, which will be described in Module 7.4, Control Costs. The other tools and techniques were previously defined in the develop schedule process and will also be used during controlling. The Project Management Information System may be used to help automate the tracking and reporting of earned value measurements. Resource optimization techniques are used to adjust the schedule based on resource management. This can include resource leveling or resource smoothing. Applying leads and lags is the documentation of required space or overlap built into the dependencies of project activities. And schedule compression is a technique to shorten the project schedule duration without changing the scope of the project. This can include crashing or fast tracking. Let's take a graphical look at the control schedule process by using an example. A particular work package was estimated and approved to take 10 days to complete. This orange line represents our schedule baseline. After 5 days of work, the project manager collects status reports from the team, also known as work performance data, and learns that the task is 40% complete. We will use a tool and technique known as variance analysis to examine the difference between what was planned and what actually happened. Since the work package was planned to take 10 days and we have been working for 5 days, we should be 50% complete. However, the team has only reported being 40% complete. This means that the work package is behind schedule. In Chapter 7, we will use earned value techniques to further measure schedule performance. In contrast, variance analysis could also discover that work is completed ahead of schedule. There are three key outputs to the control schedule process. Work performance information represents the documentation of how the project is performing relative to the approved plan. For example, it could describe that project performance is consistent with the plan, that the project is behind schedule, or that the project is ahead of schedule. When earned value techniques are used, this performance can be measured using values such as schedule variance or schedule performance index. Schedule forecasts are the documented predictions of future project performance and results, often based on past performance. Both work performance information and schedule forecasts will be inputs to the monitor and control project work process, where they will be consolidated with other performance information to provide an overall understanding of project performance. The other key output is change requests. When project performance is not fully in line with approved plans, the project management team should request changes that will help to bring future execution closer in line with the plan. These requests need to be evaluated by the Change Control Board, since they could likely impact the scope, schedule, cost, or other project objectives. Let's take a look at two of these outputs. Work performance information is a lot like work performance data, but with value added. Work performance data is an input to the control schedule process. While this can be useful information, it has very little use without context. For example, a resource telling you how much work they have completed doesn't tell you much unless you know the work that they should have completed. It is in the control schedule process that we compare this work performance data against the plan or schedule baseline through our tool and technique called Variance Analysis. This gives the data context. As a result, we now have measurements or work performance information. This will be an important step for reporting performance to project stakeholders. When the project sponsor asks for a brief report on the health of the project manager cannot simply hand over all of the team's status reports. The sponsor expects the project manager to perform analysis and present a comparison of where the project is versus where it should be. Work performance information represents the outcome of variance analysis to be used for future project reporting. Change requests are an output of nearly all monitoring and controlling processes. Anytime a variance between execution and the plan is observed, a part of the project is out of control. In control schedule, this might mean that the project is behind schedule. When this occurs, the project management team should seek ways to get back on schedule. This could include reducing the scope of the project, adding resources, potentially increasing costs, or extending the schedule baseline. All of these scenarios would require changing the project baselines. Therefore, a change request must be issued allowing key project stakeholders to evaluate the impact of the change to the project as a whole. The goal is to perform this process proactively, requesting changes to bring future performance in line with the plan so that the variance never gets too big. Finally, many processes may lead to updates to the project management plan and/or project documents. Since the project management plan and other project documents are not subject to the same levels of approval that the baselines are, these updates will not require formal change control. Control schedule is the process of proactively comparing actual project execution to the approved plan to document the performance of the project and influence factors that can bring future project performance closer in line with the plan. In this process, the project management team observes the completion of project work as compared to the approved plan to determine performance. When a variance exists, corrective and preventive change requests should be generated to help bring future results closer in line with approved plans. The tools and techniques listed in this process are all similar to the variance analysis technique used during control scope. By performing this process continuously throughout the project lifecycle, the project should never stray too far from the baseline.